Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. CliffTurbo here, back in the house, bringing you my first game review. Disney Stitch Experiment 626. I played this game for quite a while, during my childhood and even now, especially during this preparation. So lean back, watch my review, and watch me blast. Oh.
Wow!
This game was released in June 2002, 2 days before the movie came out on theaters, and is actually a prequel to the Lilo and Stitch series. That's right folks, this is actually an origin story of Jumba and Stitch, telling you exactly how everything happened and how it came to be. But how exactly did the story begin and end? The game starts with Jumba, the creator of Experiment 626 and 625 other experiments that he's been willy-nillying, and his goal is to collect a strand of DNA to continue with his experiments and very legal mutations. And that's what he's sending Stitch to do, collecting strands of DNA to continue his work, while Experiment 621 is just chilling there and being useless. So that is our goal as the player. You have to collect a lot of DNAs scattered throughout the levels in order to continue Jumba's work. There are 50 of these in every one of them, and collecting them or unlocking all those levels in order to proceed. There are some levels like Grima Jungle, the Cavern level, and then the God Gas level, where you have Stitch just scrolling around, search and destroy, and yeah, that is the normal gameplay. And then there's the other two with some gimmicks on it, like the grappling hook, which is like the main way to proceed some levels like the hot foot. I believe this one is very frustrating. And the third one where you have to use the jetpack to fly through the levels. Like you have to fly through the rings in order to proceed, because if you don't, then I guess the jetpack is just running out and Stitch dies somehow. But otherwise, I think the levels in Stitch Experiment 2626 are pretty well made. If I have to say one strong point of the Experiment 626 game, I'll have to say the atmosphere, as all those worlds you travel through really stands out. Sure, this game was rumored to be a late PS1 game that got quickly released in PlayStation 2, but I really don't mind it, as I think some of those stages really do stand out, like the laboratories and then the cavern levels, and then one time you travel through outer space, absorbed by all these. And as someone who was a huge fan of Ratchet & Clank games, even now, when it comes to travel through planets and planets, I was quickly sold. If I have to give an example of some of my favorite levels in this game, that is Energy Line. When I'm talking about the atmosphere, it's because I do remember that one time where you have that giant monster just captured inside this glass capsule, and there's nothing really you can do to save it. It's just hanging in there, drained with life, almost dying. Sorry buddy. But that's not all the game delivers. The game also introduced the movies. I guess the Galaxy is still using the VHS back then. And as you collect the movies, you're also capable of unlocking all those movie clips directly from the movie. And remember, this game came out 2 days before the movie came out, so if you're fast enough, you can actually watch a good handful of the movie before it comes out. I guess I'll say 10 minutes worth, but that shouldn't be a reason to not skip the theaters. I mean, if you really think about it, back then, it was really normal to see all these movies to get transferred into video games as a way to advertise them so everyone could get on board. It's the same thing with Spider-Man, the DreamWorks movies, and a lot of other Disney movies that came out back then. Would you believe it when I say that Chicken Little was one of my first video games and DVD movie? I have never seen Lilo and Stitch until 2008-ish. If only I saw myself in the future. But a platformer game can't have levels without bosses, and it only has 3 of them. The first one being Dr. Happy Rail. The first one is really easy. Just grab the missile, jump up using this bounce pad, and boom! Right in the face. I do like his voice. I never knew though that James Ornitilla was the one who voiced him, and he sounds nothing like Obi-Wan, Johnny Test, or Ratchet. This guy knows no bounds when it comes to range. The second boss being... oh wait, I gotta talk about him. So, as you also know, since Experiment 626 is the 626th experiment that's been created by Jumba, we also have the other one called 621. And he's like a janitor for Jumba, since he's not really compatible to do missions for him. I guess he's seen as pretty much useless to Jumba, and you can't help but feel bad for the guy. I mean, he just wanted to do the job for him. That's why he was created in the first place. But now he's lost all meaning.
I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Well, everything's about to change. We'll see how Jumba feels about you now that I have used that DNA on myself.
Now we settle this.
Because he's so envious of Stitch, who's capable of so many more things, he's now decided to transform himself into a superior monster. He is the harder bosses of the three, but he's really not that hard. What you have to do is climb up at those pillars in order to destroy that mutating machine. After that, you just have to bait him and make him use his rollout attack in order to hit those electricities. It wasn't very effective. But oh no, Gancho has captured us. Or specifically, he captured Jumba. And now Stitch has to save him.
Oh, and how convenient. Your genetic experiment is here as well. You're both under arrest.
I mean, do I have to though? From what I've seen in the movies and then in the game, is Jumba even the good guy? Are we actually doing the bad things in the games? And, you know, at the beginning of the movie, is he actually the good guys? I'm really curious. And I also think that this is where the game also kind of gets really complicated, because there are some levels I just find really frustrating. Like, if anyone has played the Area 626 and Stitch in Space, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is where the game just kind of cranks up to from 100 to 626. So we just have to save Jumba into this room here, and oh my god, this is the exact same room at the beginning of this movie. And I'm in it! In 3D! Although after you save him, the final boss is coming out, and that is Gancho himself.
It's your last mistake, little mutant.
And this guy is huge. I mean, he already looked that huge in the movie, but he's pretty much reduced to an inch taller than a human man in the Lilo and Stitch series. But here, Jesus. But it's really not that hard though. Just pick up the missile, just wait for Jumba to freeze him, and boom, he's gone. And so 2 days later.
Excellent 626. Yeah!
And here comes my favorite subject for this video, and that is the music. For some reason, this game is going super hard when it comes to soundtracks. like using some real metal-ish guitar, heavy metal percussion. It just makes the whole stage game into a badassery. And it makes me, as a kid, also really hardcore, especially with the guns he's using. I think that again when it comes to back then in early 2000s, that's when gamers is just becoming some real grown-ups. And even the kids themselves want some really hardcore games to play. And I think that's why this game is just having this some sort of hard-ish vibe to it. The same way as the GTA, Jack 2, and even Shadow the Hedgehog had. Oh, Shadow the Hedgehog. So yeah, this soundtrack here, it is heavily using samples that is borrowed from the sources, and there's something really funny that I noticed in this game. It is some of the same samples that I've heard from all the other medias, and also Shadow the Hedgehog. I'd like to give you two a listen. These are the soundtracks that I've heard from other shows or games that you also hear in this one. Generally, I still think this game is good. It does get really difficult right at the end, but overall I had a blast with it. And as long as you have that collective fun spirit inside of you, you'll have no problem finding all those DNAs to advance. This game is only available on PlayStation 2, and at least for my case, it's not really hard to find one. But without further ado, thank you guys for watching my very first game review. It is legit my very first one, not the ones that just happened to scrap and just never touched again. It did get a little challenging to edit and put all things together to make one very satisfying video that I've done right now, but I'm glad it all came to be. But with all that said, I hope to see you guys again in my future content.